And welcome back to another episode. In this video, what I'm hoping to do and what I'm hoping to do going forward is to make more personal videos that I'm going to be able to make a lot quicker and then hopefully promote a discussion back and forth. And the first topic I wanted to discuss is what I call Obama the Great Divider. Now, right now in the United States, there's a lot of talk about how divided America is. Well, in my opinion, this did not begin with Donald Trump. In fact, I would say Donald Trump is at best a symptom rather than a cause. The real instigator of the current state of American politics today was Barack Obama and his presidency. Now, if you look at the history of Barack Obama, he was always, from the beginning, a far-left ideologue who was steeped in postmodernism and identity politics. Now, identity politics is all about identifying with your tribe. So not as an American, but you see yourself first based on your sex, your class, your culture, or your race. And this is not unusual throughout the world. In most societies, in Asia or in Africa, that's how you see yourself. You're part of a tribe. It's very much a Western idea to see yourself as being a citizen of a country first. So being an American first, being a Canadian first, being a Brit first, for example. Identity politics is really the opposite of the great creed of America, which is e pluribus unum, or out of many, one. Barack Obama, throughout his presidency, and it basically infected the entire Democratic Party, put that absolutely on its head. When researching this topic, I found this great quote by the great Victor Davis Hanson, and he wrote, "President Obama has systematically adopted a rhetoric and agenda that is predicated on dividing up the country according to tribal grievances in hopes of recalibrating various factions into a majority grievous culture. He has succeeded politically, but in doing so, he has nearly torn the country apart." And I think that's exactly right. So let's look at a few examples now of this. During the initial controversy over Barack Obama's preacher, who he attended for over 20 years, I believe, in Chicago, he called his grandmother a typical white person. Now, have you ever heard any American president speak in those terms? Calling someone a typical white person means that they have characteristics based solely on their race. It is no different than saying, a typical black person or a typical Mexican or typical Latino, something like that. That is identity politics right now, and Barack Obama was demonstrating it right back then. During the whole Trayvon Martin controversy or crime, the justice system had not even gone through the whole process when Barack Obama had to sort of jump into the investigation and issue a public statement where he said, among other things, that if I had a son, he looked like Trayvon. Once again, that's a signal to your tribe that I see where you're coming from. And it's maybe some ways I can see why he did it, but nonetheless, you're dividing things along race, whatever your intentions are or not. Could you imagine, Bill Clinton during the OJ trial just jumping in and saying, if I had a second daughter, he might look like Nicole? When push came to shove, Barack Obama would always retreat to identity politics. His famous speech at the Democratic National Convention when he was a senator, and he said there's not a white America, or not a red America, there's not a blue America, there's only a United States of America, that was only a mirage. When push came to shove, he would almost always fall back on identity politics. Oh yeah, during the 2012 election against Mitt Romney, he was giving a speech to Latino voters, and he said the line, "We're going to punish our enemies and we're going to reward our friends." If you can find any comments made by any other president in history that is equivalent of that, please leave it in the comments, because I would like to read it. This is identity politics laid bare, that if you're a Latino, vote for me, and then we're going to punish people who are not Latino. Oh, this other famous one. If you got a business, you didn't build that. Someone else made that happen. That is identity politics based on class, and that is trying to gin up resentment against people who run their own businesses or who perhaps are successful. Oh, and then I also found this great quote from Barack Obama's pastor, Reverend Wright. It is this world, a world where cruise ships throw away more food in a day than most residents of Port-au-Prince see in a year, where white folks' greed runs a world in need. Apartheid in one hemisphere, apathy in another hemisphere. That's the world on which hope sits. And Barack Obama absorbed that for his entire time in Chicago in the pews of Reverend Wright. And so it shouldn't be a surprise as to how he governed. Some examples of using identity politics when he was in office was his Justice Department constantly challenging photo ID laws. And they would challenge them on the basis that they were racist, that blacks or Latinos couldn't get the proper identification for some reason, which sounds a little racist to me, and therefore the ID laws are racist, and that's identity politics. That's despite the fact that the Supreme Court upheld similar laws 6-3 in 2008, and Jimmy Carter actually recommended them in 2005. So there was broad acceptance of this, but Barack Obama and his Justice Department will put identity politics to just further divide America. His bogus war on women, which was a big talking point during the 2012 election. You may remember when the hapless Mitt Romney said that they wanted to promote more women, so they did a big search, and they got binders full of women who could be doing this. And that was one of the main things used against him as being a war on women. Again, identity politics based on sex. Now, at the end of the day, identity politics worked great for Barack Obama because he was president for 2 terms. But it was disastrous for the Democratic Party. When Barack Obama left, and this is what people like Donna Brazile now are saying, the party was just hollowed out. It was hollowed out financially, and it was at its weakest levels at both the federal and the state level. Record lows in Congress, in the Senate, at as far as governorships at the state level. This is why when it came time to find a replacement for Barack Obama, where was all the diversity? You had 2 old white people being able to run, and all the young people who might have been in that party had been voted out during Barack Obama's reign. It was also disastrous for the LA, New York, and Washington media that covered for him. They basically gave him a free pass on most things, and this is really where they lost their credibility. This now, when they want to really challenge Donald Trump, they basically can't do it. And Donald Trump didn't take their credibility. The mainstream media gave it away during the reign of Barack Obama. Hollywood also covered for him is now paying the price by injecting politics into their product. One thing about identity politics is that it makes almost every act potentially a political act. So going to the movies is now, well, do you like that actor? What did that actor say? And it's ruinous to a cohesive society. Today, the Democratic Party is still struggling with its identity politics switch, which really occurred under Barack Obama, versus its past as sort of being the party of the working man and woman. And this is a divide that they're still going through, and it's not clear which side is going to win. Most recently, I came across this where Tom Perez, the head of the DNC, said that white men need not apply to tech support positions within the DNC. Okay, that is identity politics. How would you think you would feel if you're a coal miner who was laid off, got retrained, and then the head of the party, the Democratic Party, supposedly historically the party of the working man, says you can apply because you're white? It is just poison in a society, identity politics. So, in my opinion, in conclusion, the real source of today's divided America was that Barack Obama and the identity politics he practiced, and the fact that he turned the Democratic Party into a party of identity politics as opposed to, say, the party of Bill Clinton. In my opinion, Barack Obama tilled the soil that sprouted Donald Trump. But what do you think? Do you agree? Why or why not? I would love to leave your thoughtful comments below. But that's it for now, and until next time.